Hello, everyone. My name is David Johnson, and this presentation will be titled History's Voices. This presentation is part of the summer reading program for this year called Find Your Voice. Now, accordingly, we are going to be looking at three voices in French Valley history, which made a difference in both the community and the impact that that community has had throughout the ages. Now, the first person we're going to look at today is William H. Auld. Now, before we begin, I'd like to simply say that the archive we have here at French Valley is not necessarily set up to record personal histories. We're not set up to do biographies. That being said, the three people that we are going to examine in this series are going to be more of snapshots in time. We're going to be looking at the things that they went through, the things that they saw, and the things that they built as they came into the area that we know today as French Valley. Now, with that being said, we'll now start with Mr. Auld. Auld was born in Amador County, California in 1855. Auld is a first-generation American, his family coming from France and eventually settling in Canada before making their way here via ship to San Francisco Harbor. While in San Francisco Harbor, Auld worked as a carpenter, a blacksmith, and a shipbuilder along with his father. Eventually being dissuaded from this life, he became a gold miner and worked his way south, settling into what was then known as the Alamos Valley. Now, why did Auld come here? As far as we know, it was in relation to the French Revolution of 1848, commonly known as the February Revolution. The Auld family left France following the French Revolution of 1848, which was, by all means, a bloody conflict which saw widespread civil unrest around the Kingdom of France. It also saw the collapse of the French monarchy and the installation of the Second French Republic. Widespread fighting in and around the area of Alsace, France, meant that farmers and tradesmen were under constant threat of siege or open warfare, with very little organization and civilian deaths common. The Aulds, along with many other French families, did the only thing they could do to secure their survival: leave. In a time when money was scarce and relocation was long, arduous, and oftentimes perilous, the fact that this was the only option for survival speaks to the gravity of the situation that they found themselves in while in France. As stated before, the Auld family first immigrated to Canada, working their way west, following the discovery of gold in California in January of 1848. It was as a result of this westward journey, first by land through Canada, then by ship to California, that William came to be born in Amador County, California. Growing up in the freshly minted state of California, William's early life was a hearty mix of work and cultural assimilation. Auld came from a family who almost exclusively spoke French, having to learn English as he went along. William first worked in the wharfs of San Francisco as a shipbuilder, seen here on your screen on the right-hand corner. He then moved on to become a carpenter and a blacksmith, probably both while he was in San Francisco and while he was making his way south. These skills would allow him to continue his southward move down California, all the while honing the skills that he has already had and making himself more profitable as he moved further south. While on his way south, William even tried his hand at gold mining, but found the occupation to be risky and far too frivolous to invest in seriously. William would eventually settle in an area of California first known as the Alamos Valley in 1880, though the area would soon become known as French Valley. This was the valley into which Auld would ultimately make his livelihood. Settling raw land, William formed a productive farm and ranch, using skills he acquired in San Francisco and on his way through California's fertile valley and rocky coastline. William felt it necessary for young people to have an education in an effort to get a leg up in life. This most likely stemmed from his lack of education. While Auld was very resourceful and cunning, there's no evidence yet produced in the archive to show that he ever received a formal education outside of on-the-job training. William would go on to become a founding member of the local school board and ferociously support local schools such as the Alamos, Hyatt, Rawson, and Hemet schoolhouses in the French Valley area. Auld would employ many youths in working on the farm, some of them even marrying into an ever-expanding Auld family. He was a supporter of law enforcement, with a descendant, William Kirk Auld, serving as a Riverside County deputy sheriff in 1964 and rising to the rank of captain. French Valley would be put on the map by people like William H. Auld, whose grit and determination against the odds would lead many successful homesteads and ranches, a blossoming community, and a communal ethic for hard work and perseverance. For those wondering where the Auld Ranch once stood, it was located at the east end of modern-day Auld Road. The Alamo Schoolhouse once stood on the ranch property before the creation of Lake Skinner. Following completion of the reservoir, the Alamo Schoolhouse was moved ashore and the Auld Ranch was flooded under rising fresh water. And we will discuss more on the schoolhouses later on in a separate video. But for the sake of this one, we'll simply say and simply conclude with William H. Auld's death in 1945 at age 90, leaving a lasting impact on French Valley and the community that he held so dear. That's the end of this first video. As I said, we're going to be making 2 more after this. This new shorter style will be something that we're going to try to implement in the future as well to make these videos a little bit more digestible and for easier viewing pleasure. And as always, if you think you have an artifact for French Valley history, please let me know at frenchvalleyarchive@gmail.com. And please come on in in case you would like to see the archive or just generally talk about history. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.